Here is something most people do not realize about home size and happiness. There is almost no correlation between square footage and life satisfaction once you exceed a reasonable threshold. A 2021 study from the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that people living in homes between 1,200 and 1,800 square feet reported the same levels of happiness and life satisfaction as people living in homes over 3,000 square feet, and that larger homes were associated with higher stress levels related to maintenance, cleaning, and financial pressure. Bigger houses do not make you happier, they make you busier and broker. Brian thought the extra space would improve his quality of life. It has not. He uses 3 rooms regularly, his bedroom, the kitchen, and 1 bathroom. The formal dining room has been used twice in 3 years. The bonus room is full of unpacked boxes. The guest bedrooms are empty except when his parents visit once per year. He is paying for 3,200 square feet and living in maybe 1,000. The rest is waste. Expensive, taxed, insured, heated, cooled waste. The status signaling is part of the trap. Brian bought the McMansion partly because his co-workers and friends were buying similar houses. He did not want to be the guy in the small house. He wanted to keep up. Keeping up cost him his financial future. A 2022 analysis from the Federal Reserve found that household debt-to-income ratios are highest in zip codes with the most new construction of large single-family homes. People in McMansion neighborhoods are drowning in debt because everyone is trying to outspend everyone else, and the houses are the primary vehicle for that competition. Brian is competing in a game where everyone loses, except the builders and the banks. The builders sell overpriced houses with cheap materials and massive profit margins. The banks collect interest on 30-year mortgages. Brian collects stress and a credit card balance he cannot pay off. The opportunity cost of the McMansion is staggering when you actually calculate it. Brian is spending $23,000 more per year than he would in a smaller house. If he had bought the smaller house and invested that $23,000 annually in an index fund, after 5 years at an 8% return, he would have $134,600. After 10 years, he would have $332,000. That money could be a down payment on a rental property, a college fund for kids, a career change fund that lets him take a lower-paying job he actually enjoys. Instead, the money is gone. It went to utilities and property taxes and HOA fees for a house that is twice as big as he needs. The McMansion is not building equity that compensates for this. Home equity builds slowly on the mortgage schedule. For the first 10 years of a 30-year mortgage, the vast majority of each payment is interest. Brian will have maybe $80,000 in equity after 10 years, and that assumes the house appreciates at the rate of inflation. Meanwhile, he gave up $332,000 in investment growth. He traded actual wealth for the appearance of wealth. The house looks successful. The bank account is empty. Escaping the McMansion trap requires admitting that you made a mistake and being willing to downsize. That is emotionally brutal. Here is what you do if you are Brian or if you are considering buying a McMansion because bigger feels better. First, calculate the total cost of ownership before you buy, not just the mortgage. Add utilities, property tax, insurance, HOA, expected maintenance, and furnishing costs. If that total is more than 30% of your gross income, you cannot afford the house, regardless of what the lender says. The lender is not living in your budget. You are. Second, resist the urge to buy the largest house you qualify for. Buy half the house you qualify for and invest the difference. You will be wealthier and less stressed. The extra bedrooms do not improve your life. The extra savings do. Third, if you already own a McMansion and you are struggling, run the math on selling and downsizing. Calculate what you are spending annually on the big house versus what you would spend on a smaller house. If the difference is over $15,000 per year, sell. The transaction costs of selling hurt. Staying in a house you cannot afford hurts worse, and the pain never stops. Fourth, ignore what your neighbors and friends think about your house. They are not paying your utility bills. They are not funding your retirement. Their opinions are worth exactly $0. Your financial stability is worth everything. Fifth, if you are in the market for a house, prioritize cost per square foot and total operating cost over total square footage. A well-built 1,500 square foot house costs less to maintain and operate than a cheaply built 3,200 square foot McMansion, and it will make you happier because you will have money left over to actually live instead of just survive. Right now, you think Brian is living the dream because he owns a big house in a nice neighborhood. That story looks good from the outside, but here's what is actually happening. Brian is trapped in a house that costs $53,000 per year to operate. He has no savings, no retirement, no financial cushion, and he is one emergency away from losing everything. The house is not an asset, it is an anchor. He is working to pay for a structure that provides no real value beyond the psychological comfort of feeling successful when people visit twice per year. The McMansion trap is not about whether houses are good investments. It's about whether your specific house is preventing you from building wealth because it is too big, too expensive, and too demanding. Brian could escape by downsizing. He could sell, move into a smaller house, and immediately have $23,000 per year in freed up cash flow. In 5 years, that's $115,000 in savings and investments. But he won't do it because selling feels like admitting he failed, and staying feels like persevering. Staying is not perseverance. It is financial suicide in slow motion. The house is eating him alive, and he's pretending everything is fine because the alternative is admitting that bigger is not better, it is just more expensive. You can keep buying the biggest house you qualify for and wonder why you are always broke despite a good income. Or you can recognize that square footage is not success, that the McMansion is a trap designed to extract maximum money from you for minimum quality, and that downsizing is not failure. It is the only path to financial freedom when you are drowning in a house you cannot afford. If this makes you reconsider the size of your dream home, hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.